Hey guys, just want to welcome you to episode 18 of the Angry Advocate podcast. My name is Ed Hamady. I am the guitar player of Death's Hand and owner of Advocate Media.
And hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 18. I am Ash, the owner of Angry Ginger Photography. I am so excited for this week's episode. We have Jesse Blanchette, the guitarist of Graveborn, Leylines, and Conforza with us.
What up?
What's up, man?
Absolute powerhouse that just does not stop.
What up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's crazy to hear like the fact that you play in all of those bands. Like
Oh,
I'm just like
thank
I couldn't do that. I don't know how you do that, but it's awesome.
Thanks. It's a lot of riffs, but it's sick.
Yeah. I was gonna say it probably takes some time to like I don't know, just separate yourself with all three. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's easy for you, but like for me, I think it would be hard to be able to just like do all of that.
It's a chore. It's a chore for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's like Conforce is easy because like those are mostly all my riffs, like over
Right.
a long time, So Graveborn's like a little more like, all right, I got to learn Chris's riffs, and then
Yeah.
Leylines is a whole different animal. Like, it's pretty much all written drums first. So it's like, all right, I just have to play guitar to these drums. And
That's
it.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
Mike's a beast, and he just writes the craziest shit, and I'm like, blows my mind. Like, what the hell? Like, I have to play this groove. I'm like, holy shit, what is this groove?
How do I find this groove? No, I
Yeah.
love music that's written drums first. Like forces you to completely like change your mindset.
Yeah, it's weird, and I've never really written like that until Leylines, so it's really been a fun challenge, though. It's cool. Like, we've written already like 20 songs together in like 2 years, so it's like we got so much music in the bank ready to go, and it's a lot.
I've never been in a band that writes that way. I don't think I could do that.
It's weird. It's weird, but it's like, all right, like that's it. Like that's all you get. You hear the drums, and you're
actually,
like, all right.
Actually, no, I could. Well, because I could probably do that. It's just not how we do things. Like,
yeah, not many bands do it like that at all.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, as originally, I'm a drummer. That's my main instrument, right?
Sick. Nice.
Yeah, so I play guitar in Death's Hand, but like every other band I've ever been in, I've played drums for. So,
oh yeah.
So like drums, I'm better at drums right now. I'm probably not better at drums because I've been playing guitar way more consistently than drums. But like playing drums, like I don't think I could sit. Like I wouldn't want to write a song starting with drums. Like I wouldn't want to do that. Like as a drummer, like I think I would hate doing that. Like
yeah, I don't even think that's this type of style for everybody either. Like,
yeah,
a lot of drummers like, they like hearing guitar first, but
that's what I'm saying. Like I need grooves. I need riffs. I need because then that depending on what the guitar does, I will either accent or play something completely separate, or depending on what the bass is doing, I might follow that. You know what I mean? So that's kind of blows my mind a little bit. I'm a little bit
yeah.
I don't know.
One thing that makes it easy for us because like, we're not close to each other, like physically. Like Mike lives down in New York, so it's like 4 hours for me to drive there. So it's like we don't jam as often as we would like to, but we do jam like at least once or twice a month. And before we do tours, we usually try to hit it like every week. I'll drive down there, but we basically started writing. Like he sent me some drums that he had sitting in the bank for a while, for years. Originally, those drums were supposed to be for Josh Travis, I think, from Danza. Like the two of them were going to do something, but it fell through. I mean, I'm sure Josh joining Ymir had something to do with that. Once you do that, you're busy at that point.
I was just about to say that. Once you're at that point, like he's
right.
That's what he's doing.
That's his gig. Yeah, that's his gig at that point. So when Mike told me that's who those drums were written for, I was like, I fucking love Danzo. They're like one of my favorite bands. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, you want riffs like that? I got you, like, so
Yeah.
I hit the lettuce and I fucking just
Yeah.
recorded some guitar and sent it back. And he was like, dude, we should make this a band. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I guess I'm going to play in a third band now. Fuck.
That's cool,
but it's
though.
cool though. It's worth it. Yeah. And it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. We've had a blast writing together, and we got Jonathan Carpenter on board. He was on Exoplanet and Intrinsic from The Contortionist. He was on those 2 albums. So
Nice.
yeah, and it's working with him has been a pleasure. It's awesome. He's very creative. He's
I bet.
very, very cool dude too. Every time we like do any runs together and stuff, it's always a blast hanging with him, and he's fun. Fun
that's
dude.
awesome. Yeah, The Contortionist is awesome. We record with Evan Sammons.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah. So we
he's
record
good shit.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. So we record with him and like Mike Lassard, who's the singer of The Contortionist, and was the singer of Last Chance to Reason. That was Evan's band in Maine.
Last Chance to Reason was awesome.
Yeah, dude, they're incredible.
Yeah, level 2 is like one of my favorites.
Yeah,
that album's so good. Conforza played with them at the Palladium when they were touring on level 2. Yeah, and it was like, oh, so sick. I remember like talking to those dudes, and I was just like, this is so good. Like,
and like Evan, both Evan and Mike are geniuses. Like so Evan, and what I didn't really know, and maybe I'm not 100% right on this, but from what I get the gist, Evan does a lot of the electronic stuff in Last Chance to Reason. So he's kind of the one that helped us with our electronic stuff in Death's Hand.
Oh,
so
cool. Nice.
Yeah. So it was like so like we went in, recorded guitars, drums, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then we were like, yeah, we want to add on the last EP we did. We were like, yeah, we want to add like some more like electronic stuff in there. And so we went in and like recorded synth stuff and was like, this is kind of where we're at. And he was like, cool. He's like, do you want me to just add in some random atmospheric stuff behind it? And I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. Like, yes, fun, please. Like, dude, do you? And what's cool is that like, when we go in and record, we come in with like a very solid demo track. Like he told us, he's like, you guys come in with some of the best, like the most solid demo tracks to like go off of. And so that's a huge compliment from him.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially from like, I've only been in that nice of a studio 2 times, and it's been with him. So like the fact that he says that's cool. I'm like, awesome. And then he just said, he's like, you guys come in, you do exactly what you want to do. You don't waste my time. Like, and he's just like, so he kind of, it's like that. It's kind of like I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're easy. We're easy enough to work with him. And he's like, you guys just make it easy. Like you make it easy, you make it fun. And so he's like, if you want me to do this, obviously we pay him for his time and what he does or whatever.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
He offers it and he's like, yep. Like, let me do this. Let me do that. It would be cool to work with someone else, but at this point in time, like I don't want to work with anybody else. Like,
right. Yeah, once you find your guy, that's like who you want to spend your time with. Definitely. Yeah, and he's awesome. Yeah, he did the Summons Sessions album too.
Yeah,
and those dudes were a fucking powerhouse from New England. I hope they fucking do some more. I'm friends with those guys because we go way back, but I know they have like a whole fucking album sitting there, and it's like, record it, motherfuckers. No, I've been busting their balls like individually, been like, you got to do it.
You got to do it. Yeah, for sure. They were amazing. They were really freaking good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Who with all 3 bands, do you record with the same producers or no? Is it all separate?
So it's a little different. So for years and years, like Conforza exclusively used Shane Frisbee out of the Brick Hit House down in Hyannis, Mass, like in the Cape.
Yeah.
We used him for a long time. We used him from like 2010 to 2020, pretty much 10 years, I'd say at least. Although our newest album that we're working on now, we've actually been self-producing ourselves.
Nice.
Yeah, we've recorded the whole thing for the most part. We're just wrapping up vocals with Caitlin. But we're probably going to be sending that to somebody different this time. The guys down in I think it's Westfall Studios. It's a couple of the dudes from Moontooth. I don't know if you've heard
Oh,
that
okay.
band.
I
But
have, yeah. Not like a lot, but I've heard the name. I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, we just put a single out called Fragile Ego, and we sent them that track, and they mixed and mastered that single for us, and we're all kind of like, they made our track sound sick, so might as
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
try somebody new this time, you know.
Yeah. That's
Grave,
awesome.
yeah, absolutely. Graveborn, they've used a few different people over the years. Before my time, I joined that band like maybe after like 5 or 6 years after they've been around. But since I've been in the band, we recorded with Anthony Simone once. He used to be the drummer of Pathogenic, one of the founding members. Now he plays drums in Abiotic, but he owns Zen Beast Media and Studios.
I've heard of that. Yep.
Yep. And now we're actually Graveborn we recorded our stuff ourselves for the most part, guitars and vocals and stuff. But we did drums with Shane from the Brickhead House, and his partner Pete Ruccio will be mixing and mastering the new Graveborn stuff. Nice. And with Ley Lines is like, since we're so far apart, Mike has his own studio at his house. I think it's called like Backyard Boogie Studios. Him and Mike Monaco record all the drums, edit them, send them to me. I record the guitars here, and then Jonathan does his vocals from his home over in Minnesota. And then we've been sending them to Mikel Marinas. He did I think the most recent like Circuit of Suns stuff, and I think he did I think he also did the most recent Number 12 Looks Like You albums as well.
That's cool. That's
cool. He's awesome to work with. He's great. And like again, like kind of like how Evan is, like when you record something good yourself, that's like the biggest part of it. If you can get a good quality recording and be like, here's my recording, and they're like, you did a good job with this, and you're like, sick. All right, cool, thank you.
And it's like
feel good.
Exactly. And it's just the demo, and none of it's really getting used on like the actual EP. But at least like the thing that he likes to have is if you have a solid demo, he can listen through it and then like say like, hey, I really think you should either shorten this or extend that or whatever. And it makes it easier for him to hear everything, so that then he can go, oh, okay, I kind of know what you're going for. And I mean, he always elevates the shit out of our songs. Like we come in with a demo and we're like, this sounds pretty cool. And then we record with him and we're like, does not sound like the song we recorded. Like it's like totally different.
Right.
And which obviously is the point, right? He's supposed to take what you do and make it the best sounding version of what you want it to be,
That's what good producers do, my friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And the cool thing 100%. Is that he's also the type of person who, and I love this, he never shoots you down. He never says you're doing bad. Like he's but like there'll be times where I'll be I pretty much do all the recording stuff for our band, so I do both. I record both guitar tracks.
Yep.
I'm just a little bit tighter than Kyle when it comes to recording live. Live, I prefer him, like his sound, because he's so raw and plays so hard, and I don't play as hard as he does. So like live, like his stuff sounds way more aggressive than my guitar does, which is fine. But in the studio, I'm just tighter. And so he's just like, dude, just record it. Like I play it live. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, sometimes it's better with two guitar players if one person has like one of the riffs tighter than the other person to have that one person record it. And like, it's a pretty easy compromise to make, because it's like, it's not like you're going anywhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, sometimes with certain riffs, it's just easier to have one hand is tighter sometimes than two people trying to play the same thing, especially if it's intricate or like techie or something. Like it could get a little tough to like make it like
one and like exactly. And each person's hands are totally different, right? So like even if the riff tends to be more straightforward, it doesn't really matter, because if you're like, maybe when you play the riff, you play it a little bit more on the back of the beat, like just because that's how you feel it. It's like, but when you record that, it sounds like it's off, right? So it's like like you said, like it's easier like on certain specific riffs, especially if it's like a running riff where it's like it needs to be like spot on with what it is. If you have two people and they're off, it just it's not, it's sometimes not there. But like the way Evan will record it is like I'll record something and he'll be like, yeah, cool, try it again. Yeah, cool, try it again. You know what I mean? Like he's like, it's not like, yo, bro, like he's it's
he's not not that type of producer to bust your balls and be like, you suck.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and most times, like when we record, I can do it within 2 or 3 takes. Most of the time it's one, but most of the time it takes me like 2 or 3 takes. And then there's some stuff where I'll play it and he's like, okay, that sounds good. He's like, but I feel like we should just record this chopped up because it's going to sound better if we have it chopped up. And so there's certain riffs where it just sounds cleaner chopped up. And so he's like, it's not that you don't play it clean. He's just like, I feel like if we can put this in this certain section, it will sound a little bit tighter if you like play, the lower chugs and then we record the higher parts and then we just mesh it together, and it sounds so much cleaner that way.
Yeah. So sometimes you got to set your pride aside and like do what's best for the recording and just like do it in chunks. Like, dude, I have to do it with ley lines because like sometimes I listen to Mike's drums. I'm like, where the fuck is one? Like, what the fuck? This is so mathy. And it's like, I'll set the loop and I'll be like, all right, that's a whole beat. And like, that's like a whole riff. I'll sit there and get that. And I'll be like, all right, off to the next section that I can figure out. And determine what the fuck's going on.
That's so funny. Yeah. I feel like with bands, like we specifically try to write. So we write, like, we do not write complicated stuff. Like that's just not what we do. And it's not what we want to do. We have some parts where like there's some tremolo picking parts and some kind of like complex stuff here and there, but it's purposefully not, more complicated. Like I started writing a song for this next album and like it changes time signatures like 6 times. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like it's like back and forth between like 4/4 and 3/4. There's like a measure 2/4 and like there's like I can't remember what else. I think there's one other one. And like the song sounds cool, but then I'm like, I don't think I want to use this for this band because we never change time signatures. And it's like usually it's like always in 4/4. I don't even think we have a song in like, we don't have a song in like 6/8 or anything. Like it's like nothing crazy. So it's like I showed it to Kyle and Kyle was like, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. We won't do that. Like, let's just keep it more simple. But like, I mean, like I said, to each their own. I'd love to play in a more complicated band because like I like to play like a lot of like metalcore type stuff that's like that changes time signatures. So I'd like to start writing something and maybe do like a little side project, which like just a recording side project. I don't really want to I don't have time to play with another band, but I'd love to do something a little more complicated. It's just for fun,
Oh yeah, it is fun for sure. But yeah, sometimes less is more with certain genres too. Like, hardcore, it's like you're almost better off staying in 4/4, honestly.
Yeah.
That way the crowd's gonna know how to move the room. They're gonna know that breakdown exactly where it is because
and they can and they can feel it. And that's the whole point in hardcore is like to have like not to be like, you kind of want kids to know when you're leading up to something. They're like, oh shit, this is going to be a 2-step part. Oh shit, this is going to be, you know what I mean? Like you want people to feel that. That's the point, right? And so it's like, that's kind of how we write. I mean, we're definitely not a hardcore band. I think we're like kind of like a mix between like deathcore and metalcore, like, because we're not your typical deathcore band, like at all. Like I would not like strictly put us as a deathcore band because that's not true. We have some stuff that's like that.
Genres.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think didn't we have that like a couple episodes ago?
Last episode with Devin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just like I said, in the last one, I think we just call ourselves a metal band.
And honestly, that's sometimes the easiest way to describe it.
There's
so many funny ways to describe like what you're listening to, like subgenre wise, like this is avant-garde mathcore, like
exactly. And you're like, okay, dude,
like sick,
I love talking to anyone that's like does not understand all of the like intensity of the genres, and I'm just like, heavy metal, all of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, yep, got it.
All encompassing word. This is just
heavy metal.
Or
I
like when
almost miss being at that point, like not knowing, not understanding.
Or like when boomers are like, you mean like Metallica? And you're like, yeah, exactly, like Metallica.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Metallica.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that.
That's how I have to explain it to anybody.
Yeah.
Like one of the guys I work for, that's how I explained it. I'm like, oh yeah, just heavy metal. He's like, oh cool. And I don't think he said Metallica. He said somebody else, but it was along those lines. And I'm like, yeah,
Slipknot.
yeah,
Or Slayer, like
yeah, Slayer, yeah, yep,
That's it. It's
just
the
like
same,
that.
exactly the same.
Pantera, all of those, yeah.
Right. Not that any of those bands aren't sick, but like
agreed.
But it's just like some people like or they'll just call like anything heavy screamo, and you're like,
yeah. You're like, no,
sure, whatever.
just because somebody screams does not mean it's screamo. Like,
that's like the only time I actually get annoyed. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no,
that's the word.
We are not. We are not going there. That's fucking awesome. That's so awesome.
Too funny.
Oh shit, that's hilarious. Yeah. So let's jump into questions.
Sure.
So first off, I guess I'll go first. How long have you been playing guitar and just playing in bands in general? So like if it's the same amount of time or.
It's been a while. Yeah. My dad got me my first bass guitar when I was 14, and I'm turning 36 like soon. So like 22 years I've been playing. I made the switch to guitar I don't know, probably when I was like 16 maybe. So yeah, it's roughly guitar 20 years or so. And been playing shows since I was 15. I was actually my drummer from Conforza, Matt. Him and I used to be in a band in high school called Switchblade. It was like we used to play like crappy versions of like cover songs like Metallica and like AC/DC, Pantera, every teenager goes through that phase, I think.
Yeah.
We did that. We played some really bad originals, but we used to play at this place called the Sad Cafe in Plastow, New Hampshire, and they did all ages shows.
I know the Sad Cafe.
Yeah, that place was sick. I mean,
that place was cool.
I think it's like a hookah bar or something like that now, but yeah, when I was 15, that was like my first show I played was there. And then like our guitarist's dad at the time would like get us to play like VFW halls and bars, and we were like little kids, and they were like, what the fuck are these kids doing here? And so like we'd go in and we'd play our set and we'd have to leave immediately because like we were kids and they're not allowed in there, But yeah, and then I don't know, I went through a few other bands in high school, and then we started this band called Blessed by a Nightmare when we were seniors, which ended up turning into Conforza. There was a couple other dudes that like did vocals and bass, and they ended up parting ways and went to like college and stuff. And Matt and Mikey Frasca and myself, we kept it going and changed the name to Conforza back in like 2009. And we've had numerous lineup changes since, but over the years. I mean, some members have been with us for a long time. Like Mikey was with us for 12 years, and we had another bass player, this kid Jameson Blomgren. He was with us for like maybe a couple of years or so, or at least a year. Matt Desmond was with us for 10 years or 12 years, maybe 12, maybe 2010 to maybe 2021, maybe. So maybe 11 years. We had a few vocalists, Nick Taylor for a couple of years, Mike Bovair for like 5 years. He was on Acronauseum and Beyond Being. Then we had Derek Fugetta for a few years, but we never recorded an album with him, unfortunately. And then Caitlin's been with us from Revival onward. So, which is sick. It's been a fucking while. I mean, fuck, like Matt McSweeney and I have literally been jamming since we were 15. So it's like the two of us. Yeah, we're just locked in. So like him and I have this like weird like I don't have to like even like look at him. I can like hear him like playing drums. And I'm like, oh, I'll lock right in with that beat. Like, we just lock in with each other real good. And like, I don't know, it's like supernatural. It's like, I don't know, we just know each other so well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've been
Which
playing
is
for 20 years. That's insane.
yeah, it
Yeah.
really is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we laugh about it like all the time. Like every year, we're like, "Hey, it's been 21 years," or like like leading up, like like I'm sure, like we'll hit 25 years soon. We'll be laughing,
Yeah.
like it's weird.
It's really cool when you get to have someone in your band who you're just like, you like, it's almost like you don't want to have a band unless that person's in the band. Like that's
Right.
like for me, like
Yep.
for me, like that's my guitar player, Kyle. Like I don't want to have another guitar player be in a band with me. Like I don't know. Like it's just
Right.
it's one of those things. I mean, I would like to start a side project, but like and just do like, recording stuff. But like playing live, like he's like him and I are so close that I just feel like I wouldn't want to do this specific band without him. Like I couldn't. Like if he decided to quit, like I'm pretty sure I would just call the band. I'd be like, "Cool, we're done." Like I don't care where we're at. Like I'm good. Like this band is not this band without him. So it's like it's one of those things where,
yeah, it's a tough call to make sometimes. Like like if you want to keep it going or not. Like, because there are plenty of times with Conforza where like, fuck, like, well, Mikey left. That was tough because like him and I had been writing music together for like 12 years, and it was like, fuck, this sucks. Like, but fortunately, like I ended up getting in touch with James, and like it was funny. He used to be in a band with my cousin, and they fucking picked me up to go to Applebee's one day. Just hit me up, like, "Want to go to Applebee's?" I'm like, "All right." And then, like, then we were hanging out. They're like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, it sucks. Mikey just quit Conforza." And then James out of the blue was like, "I'll do it." I'm like, "Are you sure you want to try this? Because like these riffs aren't for the weak."
No.
Funny.
And he was like, "Yeah, I do." And I'm like, "All right." And he fucking learned it old school, like, because I didn't have tabs for shit. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, we're gonna get in the room together, have a couple beers, and try to get this done. And he was like, "All right." And he did good. He did real good. He learned pretty much all of our shit, like in the room with me. And I'm like, "You're a fucking damn good guitar player, kid."
Yeah.
And him and I, it's kind of cool because like he also went to the same high school as me, but he's a little younger. He's like 4 or 5 years younger than me, but we had the same guitar teacher. So like I was like doing some warm-ups, and he's like, he's like, "You do that too?" And I'm like, "Wait." I'm like, "Where'd you learn that?" And he told me, and I'm like, "Oh, we used to have Mr. Zivos as a teacher." And like that guy, I mean, not that you guys would ever know him, but like I think he's still kicking, but he was one hell of a guitar player. He's fucking awesome. He used to like teach guitar class, falling asleep and like just shredding like Freebird, like on an acoustic 12 string. Like, damn, like you could fucking like rip that fast on a 12. I'm like, holy fuck. And he was just like
in his brain,
just casual as hell about it. Like just like like in his 40s or 50s or how old he was at the time, and just fucking when you're a kid, you're like, damn. Like,
and especially on an acoustic, like that's like I used to have an acoustic for the longest time, and I would intentionally write metal songs on that because I'm like, if I can play it clean on an acoustic guitar, I can definitely play it clean on an electric. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
there's a lot of people that swear by that. Like,
I
don't. A lot of elitists are like, "Can you play it on acoustic though?"
Yeah. I'm not that way at all. But I will say that like if you can pick up an acoustic guitar and play any of your songs, riff wise on it, like any kind of like, heavy like music, obviously it's gonna sound like shit because you're playing on an acoustic guitar, right? Like it's like you're trying to like play these like deathcore songs on like a 6-string acoustic. Cool.
Right?
It
like,
sounds.
How am I going to play this 8-string part on the 6-string?
Like it's not going to happen. But I will say like it definitely helps with doing like any type of runs and just making every note like stick out and sound better. It for sure helped me do that.
It does. It's good. It's good practice to get like like your hand tone to be like precise.
Yeah.
That way you're not hiding behind distortion. And be like, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
because it's like distorted, but
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you can hear the notes. You know that like you're actually
Yeah,
really
exactly.
picking them good, you know?
And even like, I mean, if you don't have an acoustic, you can easily just like take the electric guitar you have and just like take the distortion off and just hear the actual tones. And like there are times where Kyle will write parts because he writes differently than I do. We have very different styles when it comes to writing.
Which
And
is
so
good.
like
That makes things unique when it's two different styles of
yeah,
guitars.
like he's definitely more of like the and I think I've said this before, like he plays more of like the unga bunga like chuggy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like just like
Sick.
caveman like dumb shit, right? Like and that's just how he writes. And then I'm over
Sick.
here like I'm over here doing like just these ridiculous metalcore songs that like are all over the place. And he's like, I can't do that. And I'm like, well, I can't play some of the chuggy stuff that you play. Like just because the way his mind works and how he like how do I explain it? Like the way he writes riffs and like it's just weird. Like my head doesn't work that way sometimes. So like I have to sit back and go like, how is he playing that? Like how like and it's the same thing with me. Like I do a lot of like hammer on and pull off stuff and he like doesn't learn that easily. So he's like, I can't play that part. And I'm like, try your best. like, I don't know. Like,
Which is
but
wild to hear that because like if you see Conforza live, like Jesse and James are both like lock the fucking doing these insane riffs like perfectly like
yeah,
with like at the same time, and I'm just like I don't even know where to look because they're both
Oh,
just shredding
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, he's sick. The fact that he can keep up with me, I was like, shit. And I'm not like really like the type of guy to be like, oh, I'm so good. Like, I'm just good at what I do. You know what I mean? But I know
yeah,
what I do scares other people. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
I
exactly.
only know it because like I've had like some people try to fill in for us in the past, and I've tried showing them the riffs, and they were like, shit, I can't play that. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
sorry,
well
like,
that's like I
but
feel like
James is like he takes it head on. You know, he's like, this
I
sucks, but I
got
can do it. And then I'll say though, James is a better guitar player than I am because, like, you know, where I write riffs and I write like some riffs that are tough, but like James like can learn those riffs. But James also has shred game that I can't touch. Like
yeah,
that kid, like he can play like Jeff Loomis style shredding stuff that's fast as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know, like Rusty Cooley speed or shit like that. I'm
yeah,
like Ingrid Malmsteen shit. He's like, whatever. And I'm like, dude,
yeah,
fuck, I can't play that clean fast. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like his shred game is stupid. And it's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that kid will fucking, you know, he'll put like people like Jason Richardson, like give them a run for their money. Like, you know,
yeah,
he's that good. And it's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, but you know, he's just gonna practice more. He plays video games too much.
yeah, yeah.
But he would
But
be unstoppable if he played all the time. If he played all the time, like he'd
yeah,
be like fucking like legendary. It's just
yeah,
like
yeah,
fuck. But I'm grateful to have him for sure. Cause like before when Mikey was in the band, it was like I had to do all the solos because he was like, it's not my thing. And I'm like, all right. So I gave it my best, you know, like with the old
yeah,
solos. But he had a cool style. He was like really into like folk and like which is funny for a metal band, but like he used to like
yeah.
do some really cool weird pull off riffs and stuff, and I'm like, that's sick. I'm like, I'm gonna harmonize that. It's just like,
Yeah,
you know, like
exactly. Yeah.
fucking sick.
we're gonna make this sound like Protest the Hero now or something
Yeah,
weird. Like,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah, exactly.
you know, like
Yeah,
so
it's always fun. Like so Kyle, most of the riffs, like I said, he writes are like more of these like just super chuggy, like really caveman simplistic type stuff. But like he's the one that does. We have one solo in one of our songs that he wrote. It's a really cool solo. Sounds awesome. But like he's the one that can shred. Like he can shred. He just doesn't write songs where he shreds. You know what I mean? Like
I
and
know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that's just it he doesn't want to do that live. I don't know. It's just, you know what I mean? Like he can like sweep pick. I can't sweep pick at all. Like not even a little bit. Like I'm horrible when it comes to like
Yeah,
anything
it's
solo
a weird
wise.
technique to get super tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, I just do like all the stuff I do. Like I said, there's a lot of hammer on and pull off stuff and just like, you know, it's mainly riff stuff, you know, and like when it comes to doing like solos and stuff, I'm more of a feel guy, and like I can't shred. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna solo something, which I've never have, maybe I will on the next album. That actually might be kind of cool now that I'm thinking about it. But so maybe I'll write something.
Oh
But
yeah.
but like it's for me, it's more about the feel of that, and like I'm more of a rhythm guitar player. So for me, it's like I just want to have like everything solid when I'm playing it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like that, I feel good on stage when I'm like I can just power through a song. I know every part. Like I know I can play it really well, and like that's where I'm like, yeah, okay, I feel good, like I can do this, you know. And it's just like I don't need to
100%.
shred. I don't need to do like anything like super hard, you know.
Opposite
Yeah.
of Jesse, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Pretty much once James joined Conforza, I'm like, you can play solos, I'll play rhythm now. Straight up. Like I was so cool with it. I was like happy as hell. I'm like, you actually like rip good solos. I'm like, I'll play rhythm all day. I don't give a
yeah,
fuck.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. I don't care. Like, like take that ego and just throw it out the window. I don't need it.
Yeah,
You got two other exactly. Like just make it easier on yourself a
Right.
little bit.
Yeah, and like honestly, like Chris from Graveborn's like that too. Like Chris is like, he's a music teacher, so he's like stupid good at guitar too. And he's always pushing himself to shred like hard. And like every time he writes a solo, I'm like sick. Like
yeah,
Cool.
I'll play rhythm. I'm cool with that.
yeah,
Like I occasionally I do a lead. I do leads once in a while because I'm like, I can do them, but like I don't care. I'm more of a riff guy like you. Like, like I
yeah,
like riffs. And like, that's why I like ley lines. There's no solos. Fuck that. I want to play riffs the whole time.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, like I'll have
Just
like atmospheric parts that I'll write in there. And like, yeah, I
yeah,
might do some like tapping and weird shit like that in there in between chugs like Danza would or something. But
yeah,
but that's like just riffs to me still, like
yeah,
as
yeah.
far as like solos and shred, like I'm so glad I don't have to do it in that band.
Yeah. For me, it's more fun to just write burners. Just write
Yeah,
stuff where you're just freaking good. Like, and
yeah.
especially if you can take it and depending on how, your writing style is, if you can just take it to where like, there's parts where people are really feeling it. There's a lot of groove. There's parts where like it's a little more technical. Then there's parts where like, it's slow. It's, the tempo slows down and you play a little bit heavier in certain parts. Like I like that. That's what I like hearing and playing in songs. I like
Absolutely.
I like the tempo changes. I like, uh just anything that kind of can pull out emotion out of the song, and not only in me but also in the crowd, right? That's and it's like
That's the best part.
yeah,
That's the best part of being in a band and playing is
yeah,
doing that, honestly. Like,
yeah,
just getting up there and playing your riffs and feeling it and then seeing how the crowd feels it too. And you're like, all right, like at least like not mad about this or like
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
they're walking out and smoking butts during your set.
yeah.
Like,
Well, it's like for me too, like a lot of bands that do like a lot of the more technical stuff, like, and I mean like very technical stuff, like people can't necessarily really mosh to that. So for
yeah, not all
me,
the time. Yeah.
yeah, I mean they do, and people do. I'm not saying, but like
Yeah.
for me,
100%.
for me, like I would prefer to not like hear that all the time and just that's why I like how Kyle writes, and Kyle writes a majority of our stuff, but it's just cooler to hear like a lot more chuggier, like, either two-steppy parts, which because we have some of those, like, and then we have some more technical like death metal stuff in there, like here and there. And I just like kind of like trying to patch together like a bunch of different styles, but still keep it our own. That's
Yeah.
kind of
100%.
that's what I like. It's more fun that way. And then adding like that layer of production and electronic stuff over the top, which is like I love that. So like for me, it's just like,
Yeah.
how can we just make a big patchwork of like metal like into a song, and it's like, oh cool, we did it. You know what I mean? That's where I have the most fun, is just like
Yeah.
being able to figure that out.
Absolutely. And like that's like one of the best parts about writing too, is because like, you like think about all the bands that have influenced you throughout your whole musical life, and you pull from like, everything you like, a little bit, like, like something you might play a riff that you're like, oh, this makes me think of this band or something. And you're like, yeah, I like this vibe. Or like this next song could be like a totally different influence. You know what I mean? Like you could be going for whole different vibe, but it's still like your own because you're writing it, you know, and like it's I don't know.
Stay on this thought. Question 2: who are some of your musical influences?
Oh boy. Wow, we could talk about
saw
this
my
like for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I was a kid, I mean, like when I first started playing, like I really was like into like, you know, like Metallica. I liked Rush, Iron Maiden, like a lot of old school like stuff when I was a kid. Like, you know, we're talking like 14 years old, 15. But then I started like discovering heavier bands. I loved it. Like, so like when I was like in high school, I really got into like Cannibal Corpse and like the Dillinger Escape Plan, the Red Chord, Between the Buried and Me. I remember like hearing like the Silent Circus when I was like 15 years old, and I was like, shit, what's up? And then Alaska came out, and I was like, oh, like I love this album. Like, you know, like I was like trying to learn those riffs when I was a kid. I'm like, let's go. Like, I remember learning how to play Alaska when I was like fucking shit, like 16 years old, like learning those riffs, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, I could play Between the Buried and Me riffs like sick when I was a kid, you know. So like I try to like learn stuff that like really like pushed me to like get better as a player when I was a kid. So like I like pushed my chops pretty far, but before I even graduated high school, I was playing stuff that like some people still can't play, you know what I mean? And like nowadays, like I love so much music. I mean, like there's so much, it's hard to like pinpoint like some favorites, but it's not either. Like, you know, like Meshuggah is like one of my favorite bands of all time for sure. Converge is also one of my favorite bands of all time. Like Cave In, Ion Dissonance, Car Bomb, Frontier, like fuck, like Into the Moat, like Psyopus, like I love like if it's crazy and chaotic, I love it. Like, you know, like Mastodon, like which is like not really though that style of stuff, but like just like proggy and like so catchy, and Riff City. Like there's so many awesome riffs with a band like that. Like oh my god, I don't know. It's just there's so much. Like there's not much I don't like, but I mean like some of the things that I probably don't like. There's a lot of like generic bands that kind of like pull from each other too much. Where like it's hard to pinpoint those too, but like, you know, there's like a lot of deathcore bands, newer ones, like I'll hear it and I'm like, all sounds the same to me, you know what I mean? It's all got the toilet growls, it's all got like the really like the breakdowns that are like dun 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 dun
right
dun,
yeah
dun, dun. And it's just like, and it's like and like with like the fucking like everybody's trying to sound like Will Ramos, like, all right, like, you know, he's sick. Like, don't get me wrong, he's sick. But like, when everybody and their fucking brothers trying to sound like him, I'm like, all right, like, you know what I mean? Like, which is sick. It's cool for him because he's like, I inspired all those people to do that. But
exactly.
I don't know. There's a lot of that.
Well, like I feel like it's like for me, and when I think about it, I think a lot of metalcore bands that sound very similar to one another.
Oh
like
like
it's just
like the early 2000s. They're all like, dude, like when like As I Lay Dying first came out, like everybody was like,
everybody sounded like
sound like that.
Exactly.
Like everybody's guilty of playing an As I Lay Dying riff for sure.
It's like
at some point in their life,
and that's it. Like you just you hear that, like I don't know, it just that very bouncy like metalcore riff, and you're like, okay, this band sounds exactly like this band, or this band sounds exactly like this band, and you're like, that for me, that's one of the ones that I hear definitely in deathcore and definitely in metalcore. Those are the two that like, and for me, there's definitely some I will say in just straight hardcore too, where I'm like,
definitely,
you know, like, but I think
definitely
I look at it differently in the hardcore scene, because I feel like that's the point. Like, I feel like that's partially the point. And so it's like, I don't know. I kind of, I don't want to say I give some like hardcore bands passes, but like, I feel like for me, I can deal with some of the repetitive stuff in that more than I can in metalcore or deathcore. I don't know why. I just feel like I can, you know,
it's the vibe too. Like, you know, like, cause sometimes like with hardcore, like less is more. You know what I mean? With that kind of stuff, you know, and it's like, and that's the thing too, the beauty of it. Like heavy music is such a vast, like, you know, spectrum, like where there's like so many good genres inside of it. Like, you know, like hardcore is like this whole entity, and there's like so many like kind of sub genres of it, but it all is sick. Like, you know, there's a lot of good stuff. And same with metal. I mean, like, you know, you got like your metal and metal core stuff, your math core, and then you got like, you know, your death metal, your deathcore and stuff, like, you know, like your technical death metal. Like, there's a lot to it. Like, there's just so much like going on with it, but it's all like this big umbrella of heavy music, and it's all sick. You know, like, if you like heavy music, you love it. You know, it's kind of that thing. You know,
and I feel like with hardcore, like specifically hardcore is definitely more community based. You know what I mean? Like
definitely
people who are in that are like in that. You know what I mean? Like it's like
100%.
you don't see people like, you know, in metalcore like with that kind of community. Like the hardcore community is very
death metal either. Yeah, you don't really see it in that either. Like, you know, like and I love death metal, like, you know, but like the thing is like you don't get the same energy at a death metal show than you do a hardcore show.
No,
you know what I mean? Like the hardcore show, it's like more like, you know, intense. Everybody moves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
it's literally the point. That is the point. And that's
exactly.
That's why I feel like I and I'm not saying I give it a pass. I'll just say that's why I feel like when those bands are more repetitive, it's because they're trying to make the crowd move in a specific way.
Exactly. It's like the whole point of it.
It's the whole point. It's they're
room, you know?
Yeah, they want movement, they want feeling, they want community, they want that specific vibe. And to get that specific vibe, you kind of have to write everything. And I'm not saying all hardcore bands sound the same. I'm not saying that. But
100%. Yeah.
But because everybody's got their own little flair, everyone's got their own little thing that's like a little bit different. Some bands do sound similar, which is fine because they're metal bands that sounds, you know what I mean?
Different vocalists add different, like, you know,
exactly
vibes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna get the same vibes as Jake Bannon from Converge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but you know, but like Kubla Khan though, like those vibes are like, oh fuck, it's totally different vibes, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like they're both sick. Like, you know, like it's great. Like, so it's like vocalists makes or break the band sometimes, and they so same with drummers. Like, you know, drummers definitely.
That's what I was about to say. I think those are the two that really make the biggest impact on how songs turn out. Really,
100%.
like, if, you know what I mean? It's definitely the singer. It's definitely the drummer. And I'm not saying like guitar players aren't that don't have their own intricacies and their own certain things that make certain feel better. But like you can play a guitar part and that drummer can play 20 different parts to it. Like, and then you pick out the one it is, and that's what it sounds like. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it's the same thing with the vocalist. The vocalist, I mean, there are parts when like I listen to a song and I listen to what the song sounds like with the vocalist, and then I try to imagine it without the vocalist, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that guitar part went that way because the singer did his job so well. I'm focusing on his rhythmic pattern that he did, or his you know, his vocal tone, however he did that. I'm not looking at the guitar part, but then I listen to it and I'm like, oh shit, I never noticed the guitar did that. That's so rad. And you're like, because the vocalist like really took that part and made it their own, and you're like, oh okay, that's the vibe. Is what that vocalist is doing, not necessarily what the guitar is doing, but what the vocalist is doing. And then there's other times where, I mean, obviously the guitar pulls a little bit more, right? And then there's going to be times where the drum pulls a little bit more, and you know what I mean? Like, so it's
that's when you know that you're listening to a good band, when there's like, you know, you listen to different parts and you're like, oh, this guy's picking it up and this dude's picking it up, and this like each when different instruments of the band stick out, you're just like, you know, when it captivates you, you're like, that's what's up. Like, you know what I mean? Because like there's nothing worse like when you're watching a band and like the vocalist is fucking boring and you're like, I don't understand what he's saying, and I'll give a fuck what he's saying, because it sucks, like, you know. But when a vocalist is like so sick that they just like, you're just like, all you care about is the fucking vocals, you're like, you did your job. Like, you know, like you said, like,
and like you said, it's the same thing with the drums too, right? Like the drums help, you know, transition from one part to the next. It helps the feeling the feeling and the vibe of the song transition from one to the next, which again the vocalist also helps with. Which if like you have certain call out parts or whatever genre of music you're in, right? The drums and I think vocals definitely help push whatever the guitar is doing, and they help push the feeling from each section to the next section, and that's what the drums are for, right? Like to have
100%. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like it's you can definitely tell, like you said, you have a good band when you're like, oh shit, like they built this part up and then like absolutely killed the next part. And then like maybe it kind of goes a little bit more quiet and you're like, oh shit, I wasn't prepared for that. And then they fucking go into some crazy fast riff or something. And you're just like, oh my God, there's, you know what I mean? Like there's so much going on. Like, and that's the cool part is when a band can tastefully take you from the beginning of the song till the end of the song and everything. Like it's an emotional roller coaster, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's
how I feel watching in Forza.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hell yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, like taking people through a journey through your songs is like the best part. Yeah, 100%. Love it.
It's I think that's the most fun for me. And there are certain songs that like I definitely think that like we play that like I know like when I play it, I'm like I fucking love playing this song. Like even me, like I like how the song, transports us from the beginning to the end, or like, and there's some songs that we've written that I'm like, it doesn't really do it for me. But then someone's like, dude, this song's my favorite song you guys play. And I'm like, oh, that's weird because it's like my least favorite song that like I play. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's cool. Like it all depends on people's vibes and also like their own opinions on music. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all up in the air. Like, but for me, it's like, I have fun playing everything we write, which is some more fun than others, but I have fun playing everything. But it's like as long as I'm having fun and other people are having fun, like I'm good,
Yeah,
like,
and that's really the most important part about playing in a band is having fun. Like, like you got to have fun playing your songs, because if you're not having fun playing your songs, you probably shouldn't be in your band. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, if you're like there and you're just like, this sucks. Like, then what are you doing there? Get out of there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Let somebody that actually wants to be there play. You know?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, actually, we'll go into question 3. This one's literally our favorite question to ever ask anybody. Who are some of your favorite New England local bands right now?
Oh man. There's so many good bands in New
Yep.
England. We literally have a gold mine of great bands up here.
Yeah.
And like it's funny because like other people from like around like the region and like other parts of the country, like they don't realize like how good we have it up here. Like
Not at all.
and like a lot of bands need to tour up here because there's so many good bands that can back them up here. Like it's like what I mean? Like tours that come up here, like they're clowning themselves if they don't play in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, like Vermont, Connecticut, like even Rhode Island too. Like there's so many good bands all throughout this whole area, and like bands that skip out on this tour, like touring through here, they're foolish. They need to, because there's so many good. And the one thing about New England bands, it's one curse, is New England bands don't like to fucking leave New England. That's the one problem.
Yeah.
And that's why like a lot of us don't fucking go very far, because you need to get the fuck out of New England though and show the rest of the country what's up. But so some of my favorite locals around that are fucking killing it and doing great. Pathogenic, probably one of the sickest like death metal tech groove bands out there. They've been around a long time too. They've been around since like at least 2008, 2007, but they're fucking killer. Leylands is going to be doing a tour with them in March. The only New England show of the date is on March 8th. This will be at the Middle East with Clifford and Roselane, which both of those bands are great too. Like Roselane has only been around for like a year and a half or 2 years at most, and they're fucking killing it. They kind of remind me of like if the Acacia Strain and Misery Signals had a baby or something. Like it's
I can see that.
Yeah, it's so sick. Like like
I can see that.
And then like you look at a band like Clifford, like they're a bunch of Berkeley fucking nerds, and they fucking are like Meshuggah worship, and it's like, oh, I fucking love Meshuggah, so the band's so good.
So works out.
Yeah, I mean, so many good bands. I mean, Cytokine is fucking killing it. Like, they and like, I'm really proud of those guys because I remember what that band used to be before it became what it is now. Like, I remember when Rob like wrote it, just him. And I remember him and actually Anthony, who used to be in Pathogenic, he recorded it with him, and Anthony played drums on it. I remember he came to like a Conforza practice like forever ago and was like, "Hey guys, check out this EP that I wrote with Anthony." We're like, "All right," and we're like, "This is so sick!" Like, because it was like, it was like nothing like the Cytokine you guys know now, but like it was so sick, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then like he didn't do anything for it for like 6 or 7 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And then finally like started getting people to jam with.
Yeah.
And then like, I would hear the songs. I'm like, oh, these aren't the same, but it's still sick, and now that band has like completely changed its style completely, but it's like, the years ahead, miles between. That album's so good. They did a real fantastic job on it, and the mix and master is killer. And vocally, Eric really delivered something special on that, and it's like, like that band, like, fucking will make the whole audience cry, and that band will also make the whole audience fucking kill each other. You know what I mean? Like, and it's amazing. Like, it's so good. There's some newer bands that are coming out too that, like, at least new to me, like Bodiless is new. Like, that's like featuring some members of like, Fabricator Corey's doing vocals for them. Tony used to play in fucking, oh my god, I'm gonna forget because I'm fucking stupid. But I think it might have been Casket Rot was his old band, but that band's cool. They remind me of like Cephalic Carnage, which is so sick. Like Iron Gate is fucking so sick. They're straight up like the Acacia Strain, and it's just so angry. Like every time I see Jeff fucking just scream at the top of his lungs, fucking violence. Like, like they're like not good enough fucking violence.
Exactly.
This is like, I'm like, oh my god, it's so fucking mean. So
I want him to make a shirt that's him, but just like freaking almost like Hagrid, even though Hagrid wasn't like as magical, but just like violence in him.
That'd be sick.
So funny.
That'd be crazy.
Oh my god. Like some other good bands, like, fucking Woo Meter, like, if you like grind stuff, Woo Meter is so dope. They're kind of like, they're writing another album, and I actually produced their last album. They recorded it with me, which was super humbling. I was like, all right. I'm like, I'll you guys can be my guinea pigs. Like, I'll, produce a band for the first time. There's not my own stuff, so but they're great, and they're so creative and so weird. They're like intend to be like, our songs can be no longer than a minute and a half. I'm like, fuck.
Okay.
Like they try to like purposely stay within.
Purposely stay.
Like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, like for song length.
No. Your whole album is gonna be less than 10
minutes.
Like...
Like I was gonna say their Void EP that I recorded for them is 10 songs and it's 17 minutes. That's it. So it's like, that's sick though. It's cool. That's the point.
Power to 'em if it works.
Right.
That's intense.
It's pretty cool. Other local bands that are really fucking sick. I mean, like a couple main bands that I really think are awesome, like Lanterns, Smothered Sun, Serling. Sterling is fucked. Like they're so sick. Like that band, that's a perfect example of a band that needs to fucking leave New England. Like they're stuck in fucking Bangor. There's nothing up there. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing up there. They sometimes will come a little bit south, but like that band needs to hit the road and like go tour because they'll blow up if they do. That band
never
is
come
sick.
back. Oh.
Right. They're so sick. And it's like, fucking just go do it. Like make it happen. Fucking for like, some of the Massachusetts bands that like really stick out to me, like Averst. Like I don't know if you've listened to them, but they're fucking awesome. That new single they put out, Cross the Bear, is like a masterpiece. It's fucking like so good for the style of music that it is. Graviton, unbelievable thrash band, unbelievable thrash. It's so sick. Like they also share a member of Pathogenic too. Justin plays guitar in that band.
Okay.
And which is sick because like he added a lot of cool stuff to them, and they were already sick with Cam on guitar, but once he joined too, it was like, oh shit, all right. I don't know if they'll ever do anything ever again, but Abnormality was really sick. They're like out of Worcester. I miss that band. That band was like one of the best death metal bands to ever come out of the area, but I don't know if they're ever going to do anything ever again. But it sucks when you see really good bands like not do anything. Like the Summon, for example, like like that band has like been sitting for years, and it's like, God, I can't wait for them to come back out of the shadows and like start kicking our asses with their tech metal again.
Yeah, for sure.
Fucking. There's this new band that we're playing with on Friday. It's actually the basement show. It's actually the dude's house. They're called the Spiral Continuum. They're like they kind of remind me of like Go Rod a little bit. Like I don't know if you ever listen to them, but like really kind of like techie thrash stuff. They're really cool. I know that they've been trying to get on as many shows as they can, and I'm like trying to help them like get their name out because they're sick. They should be playing more shows. This God, I could go on for fucking ever about all the sick New England bands. I mean, like Stand a Band and like Rat Blood too, like who we're playing with Cytokine. Rat Blood's sick because again, they're a newer band. They've only been around for like what 2 years.
Yeah,
like Ashley, you would probably know, like 2 or 3 years at most.
How long has Rat Blood been a band? I've never asked an off-thing question. This is cool.
Yeah, no, you got Joe right there. Slap his ass for me, will you?
Okay, and this is from Jesse.
Oh, I could hear that. I could hear that clap from here.
I was leaning with him. That's gonna need to be a clip. July of 23, he says.
All right, yeah. So not even 2
year
years.
and a half.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and they're fucking killing it with their shows. You know what I mean? Their most recent single they put out is fucking Gangster.
Yeah. And it's only the start. Yeah. Like it's so exciting because they recorded that. I want to say it was like September 15th or September 8th, and then they did the other one for the 15th. So like they're finally like starting to do the thing, and it's just exciting to see like their hard work come into play.
Absolutely, there's so many fucking good bands out there.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, my advice to all the New England homies, like, just get the fuck out of New England and tour.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Let the rest of the country see how sick we are up here.
Yeah.
Like, don't keep it to this bubble because it'll just stay here and not go anywhere. I mean, which is sick, but at the same time, like, if you fucking play, 10 shows within fucking 2 months, 30 miles away, come on, like, get the fuck out and go hit the road.
Example of New England band that like got out of New England and instantly blew up, Balmora. Like they've only been a band I think since I want to say like 2022, if not maybe a little bit earlier, but they instantly I saw them at the hardcore, no, not even 23, like hardcore flea market of like 23 in Worcester. And now they toured with Psycho Frame. They did with Dying Wish, like baffling.
Yeah, so sick. I mean, like a perfect example of a New England band that blew up and is still blowing up is Bonginator. Look at those dudes. Like,
right now, selling out everything on tour. Them and Frog Mallet. Like when you were saying earlier about like just doing everything online, like I instantly thought of Frog Mallet because like Sean McCormick did that, like all of it, just like him doing it. Like he didn't plan for any of this like to happen, and this is their 4th year of doing this tour. Thank you. Yes, exactly.
Right. And that's a perfect example of why you got to get the fuck out of your home state and out of your region and just go hit the road. Like
they sold out Idaho. Like
like what the fuck do they know over there other than potatoes, for Christ's sake?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, apparently they like sick weed.
They like riffs.
Which is
yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, weed is tight. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Weed, frogs, and trash pandas.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But no, like they all just know what they're doing so well. Like Eric of Bonginator, Vic of RSI, like they know how to like exactly how to promote themselves and like work the algorithm beautifully.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that definitely helps too. And like that's one thing that is kind of frustrating to deal with is like
Today's day.
manipulating the internet to like your
Yeah.
advantage. But
Yeah.
that's unfortunately that's what you got to do these days. But like fortunately, like with some cases, I feel like the music still speaks for itself enough where you know what I mean. If your music is dope, then people are gonna come see you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, and I don't know if you know this, but the guys in Sterling used to be in Death's Hand.
No shit, really. I did
So
not know that.
originally, Death's Hand was called Weak Willed. That was our original band name. And
Sick.
Brandon, yeah, so Brandon, the drummer, went to college with me. I've known him for a long time. So Serling was a part of our band, and then
That's so cool.
yeah, so we went our separate ways. And they did. We wanted to play shows. They didn't want to play shows, so they went and did Serling to just be like a recording project, and then started playing very minimal shows. Like they do not play out, and I don't think they've played out in a while now either.
Maybe I can get them down to Badburg.
That would be sick.
You probably
like
could. They would
it's
play
probably it's probably like a 4-hour ride for them, but like yeah,
so
that would be sick.
they're in
let's do a Sterling Leyline show at Bad Burger.
You should.
He's like, let's do this.
It would be fucking stupid.
Yeah, they yeah, I don't know where Brandon. I can't remember where Brandon lives. They're south of Bangor. They're a little bit. We used to play at the guitar player and singer's house when we used to practice, and I can't remember where it was at, but it was over near the Bath area.
Oh yeah,
which is originally where Brandon is from. He's from the Bath area.
Bath is a beautiful place. I used to go camping there when I was a kid, and I fucking loved it.
That's where Kyle, our guitar player, is from. He's from Bath. So
Hermit Island, I think, is what it's called. You heard of that place? I used to go there like every day. Oh, not every day, but like every year when I was a kid, up until like maybe 12 years old. But like, yeah, we used to go up there like every year and camp up there, and it was like awesome.
Yeah. So that's where we practice. So Ryan, our singer, and Kelly, our drummer, are from Bangor. So they drive down. It's actually Phippsburg is where we practice. It's right outside of Bath. So
cool.
They come down from Bangor to go to Phippsburg, and then I drive up. I'm from Bridgeton, which is further south, and I drive from there up to Bath. We each drive like an hour and 40 to get to practice. So but yeah, so little known fact. Most people in Maine know that Sterling and us are connected. But some other people don't. So, but yeah, they've been putting out a lot of stuff. They've been very silent lately, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. But
yeah, it's a shame because they're sick. They're really sick.
Yeah. I know they've been playing. They played shows down in New York. They have a lot of friends down in New York, and like the mathcore kind of like
right,
super 100%. Niche subgenre. Like they have a lot of friends in that specific niche, and I mean, yeah, I know they're doing really well in that genre for sure. Especially for being a smaller band and not being out for that long. I mean, probably 4 years now, because it's about the same length as us. So it's about 4 maybe now. But yeah, they're doing some fun stuff for sure. For sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they are sick. They're really sick.
Yeah. Let's see. We're gonna go into
4. That's you ask. That's you.
Okay, cool.
That's
what gear that you own or maybe don't own yet can't you live without? Like, so if you don't have it, if you want it, or if you already have it and you love it and could never go without it.
All right. Well, one thing I can't go without is a real fucking tube amp and a real cab. Like, I can't get behind the amp modeler thing like too much. Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, some people are like, "Oh, you can't hear a difference." Well, I fucking can. Like, like I don't know. Call me crazy, but I can. So I mean, I do mix it up sometimes. Like with my amps, I mean, I usually play just a 6505. Sometimes I play my Angle Powerball. I've got like a handful of different guitar cabs that I'll use at shows. If I'm taking the pickup to a show, I'll usually bring my Mesa cabs that I've had forever. I do also have a Vader 412 that kicks ass. But if I'm taking my Civic to a show and it's like kind of, like I'm commuting kind of far and can't take my work pickup, I'll bring an orange 212 or something that I can fit in the trunk. Like, as long as it's like a real amp and a real cab, I'm happy. At this point, I played a handful of different 8-string guitars. I made the switch to 8-string probably in 2011. I want to say 2011, I think, is when I made the switch to play an 8-string. I can't go back to 6-string or 7s ever since. Like, I'm just stuck with it at this point. It's like 8-string guitars where it's at. I used to play Schecter. Then I got into Agile guitars, and I got like a couple of those. And I played Agile for a long time. I played Agile for like probably about 10 years. I played Agile guitars. And then James actually got into Legator guitars, and he turned me on to those. I ended up buying one, and it's like the best guitar I've ever played. I got the N8 Effects, and I actually ordered another one like earlier this month. It's supposed to come in like March, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's multi-scale fan fret, and it's just so comfy to play. I love it. It's just really comfortable. It sounds great. It's got the Fishman Fluence active pickups in it, which I was mostly a passive kind of guy before. Like my previous guitars, I had like a Lundgren M8. I also had like DiMarzio deactivators. But the hotness of the Fishmans I really like. And it's really nice. It's got the push-pull and all that stuff. So you get like a nice blend of different tones and whatnot. I like it a lot for like pedals and stuff. For an overdrive, I swear by the Maxon OD808. I've been playing it for since like 2010, probably. Yeah. I mean, I've messed around with some other ones. Like James tried to get me into the Horizon Drive Precision Drive. It sounds cool, but it's not the Maxon to me. Like the Maxon, I think, is a little cleaner and a little like more bite. Actually, Eric from Cytokine builds pedals as well, and he actually built a pretty sweet overdrive pedal that I tried out for a little while. He let me borrow it for like a couple months, and I tried it out. And he can build some fucking damn good pedals. But again, it's just not the Maxon. And him and I have had some funny discussions about it. He's like, what's it going to take for you to use my pedal? You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. Make it a Maxon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Better,
yeah. I don't know. I just love that pedal. For like a tuner, I use like the Korg Pitch Black. Works fine. I've used to use like some Boss ones, but they took too long to find like the in tune part. So the Pitch Black one, like even with the low 8-string, because we tuned to like drop E, so it's pretty low. It's a bass octave, but it finds it quick. So I'm content with that. I've been using like the Fortin Zool noise suppressor.
Mm-hmm.
I used to use like the regular Boss one. That's fucking cheeks. This is not good.
No,
the ISP Decimator is pretty good. I played that for a long time, but ever since I tried the Fortin Zool, I won't use another noise suppression pedal ever since. I used to fuck around with different pedals. Like certain Conforza songs, I would have to like reassemble the board a little bit. Like if we were to play stuff off Revival, I'd have to put my wah back on there. And like certain like Leyline stuff, like the newer stuff that no one's heard yet. I got like a whammy pedal that I use, but we're not playing that stuff yet, so I leave it off the board to save room. But yeah, I got like one of those like Roland Space Echoes that I used to use for a long time, but lately I've been taking it off the board because I've just been using my HX Stomp. I bought one of those. So it's funny, like I have that pedal, which also dual functions as an amp simulator. But I don't use that as the main rig. I mean, the only way I would probably use that as a main rig is if like, I were ever to do a tour where it's like we're flying out west, like Cali or something, or like overseas to like Europe, then I would probably bring a power stage and use that. But because at that point, if you're flying with a tube amp and a cab, that's going to be a pain in the dick. So
for sure.
But I put it on my board and I shut the amp sims off and I actually just use the effects built in, run it through my effects loop because like some of the delays are wicked cool. And then I got like for ley lines, like I have like the harmonist pedal like to shift it around like for certain like the gross harmonies that we do and stuff like that. Because I'm the only guitar player in that band. So it's like if I want like, the gross like minor second sound or like the major second sounds like for like the whole tone stuff, like I'll like adjust the pedal and stuff and use that to harmonize myself when I play, so that way I can kind of remake that stuff live, so to speak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like other than that, that's my board's pretty simple, like that's really it. I made the switch to like wireless setup too because after playing for fucking decades of like tripping over cables, like fuck that. It's so freeing having a wireless. Like you can walk around and not have to trip on shit or worry about unplugging yourself. Like that's the fucking worst, and it's not worth dealing with. So ever since I did that, I've been way happier like playing live. Like I love it. Like being able to walk around and like. If you're like playing a big stage like the Palladium and it's like, oh, I can fucking scoot to the other side of the stage and rock out over there and it's sick and I don't have to worry about unplugging nothing. It's like great, so I love that shit. It's you can deliver you can deliver a better performance live when you're not worried about unplugging yourself or like tripping or whatever. You can actually get into it and like engage the crowd a little more, like go see people on the other side of the stage that can't see you from where you normally stand. It's nice. It's nice to like be able to bounce around and do that.
Exactly. No, it definitely, I prefer like watching it like when everyone is wireless and everything, because usually like if there's a mishap, it's always usually a cord or something not working.
Oh, almost always. Like, you know what I mean? Like something goofy. Like, and every time you see somebody unplug themselves, you're just like noob.
I saw Heavyweight outside and one of them like had cord wasn't working, switched cord was working for a little bit, stopped working again within the set, and he just finally at the end like just smashed like his guitar and just walked off. He's like, nope, done.
I don't blame him. I mean, dude, that's just frustrating when shit fucks up. It's not cool.
We used tube heads for a long time. I've got my EVH 5150 Stealth over there. It's the 50 watt.
Sick.
I don't use that anymore. We went I used the Fender Tone Master Pro. So
sick.
So I definitely switched.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I love it. It's not so it's funny. It's not the same as a tube amp for sure. The cool thing about the Fender Tone Master Pro was they released it and I was like, yeah, huge difference. Like this sucks. It's not as raw. It doesn't sound as good. And then very, very like I think like a month or two after they released it, that was like one of their biggest complaints, especially with heavier players. They're like, there's no bite, like there's zero bite. So what they did is they actually ended up taking like an emulation of like the ohms and like what type of cab you're going into. And so you'd add this little block onto it. And like, I'm telling you, it makes a massive difference. Like it does not sound exactly like a tube amp for sure. But when you take that off and then you put it on, you're like, oh shit, there's a huge difference. Like huge
definitely
difference.
I believe it.
Like,
you can make them sound good. I'm not like hating on them totally, like because Chris from Graveborn plays like an Axe FX, and James plays a oh god, I'm gonna forget what it's called. It's something I've never really heard before until he bought it, but it's basically like kind of like a different version of like the AHX, but it's not a Line 6 product. It's something else. I could go look in his room and find out what it is, but
is it the Quad Cortex? Is it the Neural DSP?
No, it's not. It's not a Neural. No, it's like white. I forget what it's called. He'd probably be laughing at me because I don't remember what it is. But Chris makes his rig sound good with the line. The Axe effects. James makes his rig sound good. So it's like it works. Especially if you run it through a real cab. Like when you're running through the front of house, that's like when you can really tell the difference.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like when you're still at least pushing air on the stage with the cab, it's great.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those like Kemper products are great. Like I've seen a lot of bands use those and make them sound sick. Like you can make them sound good. I don't know. I'm just old school.
No, I get it. I think so like I could never play without a cab. I could never play without a cab. Like I have to have a cab on stage. So
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've played with the Fender Tonemaster Pro at practice just through our PA, and I hated it. I hated it. Well, the problem is like you said, you don't get the moving air, you don't get the rawness with coming out of a cab, and then I can hear a lot of like digital fragmentation when running through front of house. I can.
Yes.
It's not a lot, but it's when you have certain patches, or if you run your like any part of like your distortion like too much, that's when I can really hear a lot of like the digital. So like you kind of have to pull it back a little bit, which like if you play lower tunings, you can definitely pull back on the gain and it'll still sound heavy as fuck. You know what I mean?
100%,
so it's like it's just one of those things where you definitely have to like find that medium. But like I mean, for sure, tube amps are better. Like if I'm being brutally honest, it's easier for us to, because we run both Kyle and I through the Fender Tonemaster Pro.
It's definitely like, convenient. They are convenient. Definitely. I get it. Like I mean, and it's like for Graveborn too. Like we have like Chris like built this like mastermind brain that's got like it's like this big rack mount. He's got his, Axe effects in there. He's got the interface in there so we can run backing tracks and clicks for everybody. Like, cause those dudes run in-ears. I don't really do the in-ear thing. Is my rule of thumb, as long as the drummer is tight to the in-ears, then I'll be tight. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what we
like
do.
Kind of, you know what I mean? Like, so those dudes want to hear the click. I'm good with playing with I'm good. I don't want to listen to that when I'm playing live. I'm good.
Nope. I don't.
As long as the drums are on it, then that's cool with me. But I don't know.
Yeah. I totally get it for sure.
Yep.
Next question. What is your favorite thing about being in bands? All of your bands.
Well, I mean, just we kind of touched base on this a little bit earlier, but like having fun is the best part, like creating songs is awesome. Being able to like, you put your heart and soul into a riff and, you bring it to the band and you jam and everybody likes it. And then, you get out there and you play it live and you're having fun. You're playing your songs live. The crowd's having fun with you. And that's like the best part about being in a band, honestly. It's like, and then even watching other bands is great because you're seeing this community of all these fucking great people that are playing music too, sharing their hearts out, playing their riffs and like doing their thing. Like music rules. It really does. And like going out and playing shows and like going to shows, it's like so awesome. Like, I don't know, like there's some people out there that like will only go see big bands that they want to see and like not go to local shows. And like, I feel like a lot of people miss out on that because there's so many great bands out there that are like, not everybody's going to get signed. Not everybody's going to be touring the fucking country all the time. Like, especially, again, like, a lot of New England bands don't like to leave New England, but like, that's the thing is like, go see them and like, you'll have a blast. Cause like, I mean, and this doesn't go just for New England. This goes for like everywhere in the country. Like, like there's so many good bands out there. And like, if you're seeing isn't there like supporting the show start to finish, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like you know, I mean, like I get it when like you're just an attendee and it's like I'm going to go see this one band and that's the only band I want to see. All right, whatever. I can kind of forgive that. But like when you're in a band and like, you know, you're at playing a show with other bands, like, you know, you should be there like on time for load in. You should stay to the last band and like see all the bands and like make friends with them, because then like nothing drives me more bananas when I see like, you know, and a lot of this is mostly young bands that are new, but like when bands like show up, they open a show and then they just fucking tip after their set. It's like,
yeah,
that's a rookie move right there. And it's one way to like get on a shit list of like,
yeah,
you know, people like, I don't know, like there's just so many good bands and like you just, that's the best part is like being there and like getting into the community and be like, oh man, like, did you see this band? Like this band's great. And then you can like, hey, I want to play with you guys because you guys are sick. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was fun. Like last time, let's play a show together. And you meet other people. And like, you know, I think the community and playing your soul out is like the best part about being in a band. You know, making records is also great. That's my favorite part too. Like, you know, just recording the music and putting it out. Like, you know, like that way, like your tunes are gonna be out there and stand the test of time, hopefully, as long as you don't take them away from the internet, you know. Just let them out there and let them ride and see what happens and see if people dig them, you know. Like, I mean, fuck, like I want to say Conforza's done like 4 official releases. Graveborn's Graveborn's done more than what I've been a part of, because they were around like I said 5 or 6 years before I joined, but I've done 1 release with them and we got another one coming up. And then like Leylines is going to have 2 soon. We're going to drop another EP this year. So it's like having like, you know, I don't know, like say 6 or 7 releases under my belt at this point. Like it's good. And I'm not going to slow down. I'll keep writing music as long as I can, you know, only because like I'm so passionate about it and I love it. It's you know, and a lot of musicians around here are everywhere, you know, like you love what you do. And if you love music and you love creating it, then just do it. Do it, record it, put it out, play your shows, go on tour once in a while, like get out there and like do it, you know.
That's the one thing that I haven't done. I'm happy, like I definitely want to release more music and record. That's one thing I want to do. Obviously want to play more shows, but I do want to try to get like a weekender together. I know I've said that a couple times on the podcast, but I definitely want to get like something where it's like a 3 or 4 day thing where we just go out and, because like that's the one thing I have yet to do in my musical career is like actually like do like a 2 or 3 or 4 day thing. I've never done that.
Just
so
my best advice for that is like, you know, email people, like look around and like look on Facebook and see where bands are playing and just email those places and then hit up those bands like oh, like what bands rip in Connecticut or what bands rip in fucking New York or Pennsylvania or Maryland, whatever. Like just think that like do some digging, head them up and talk to them. See what you know, what venues they like to play at, what venues are sick, like, you know, find out who those contacts are, email and be like, yo, we're looking to book a tour X amount of days and like get out there and do it, like, you know, like, and you never know, you might have some luck and you do it. The worst that they can say is sorry, we don't have any availability, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly,
you know, let's just get out there and just do it. That's the best advice I can give you is just hit it hit it and get it, you know. I mean, like, you know, that's one thing that I'm grateful for Leylines is like, you know, we just bought a van, so we're like ready to hit it hard. Like we're doing this run with Pathogenic for a week, and then, you know, we're already setting in plans to hit up some other tours and do some other weekenders and stuff. Like it's just one of those things where just, you know, I'm grateful to have another project to do it, because like Conforza can't tour anymore really, you know, because Caitlin and Matt have like, you know, 3 kids together and it's like when your drummer and vocalist have kids, it's like, it's like, can we go out for a week and have somebody babysit 3 kids for a week? Probably not. You know what I mean? So it's like we can like do stuff here and there seldomly when like we have enough notice and can actually put it together. But like it's not like as easy as it used to be, because we used to tour a long time ago, and we used to tour like on average like at least 3 or 4 times a year. We go out and like hit it hard, but that was a long time ago, before children were involved and back when other members were more available. And I mean, I didn't have a career back then. I was making pizzas. So it's like, I don't give a fuck about my pizza job. I'll fucking go on tour for 2 weeks and not give a fuck if I get fired when I get back. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Now it's a little different. I have like a more serious career. So it's like, I get to like plan my PTO accordingly and like, be respectful about it, but it still make it work. And like, thankfully my work's cool about it. So, but yeah, getting out there and playing is really the best part about being in a band, having fun, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are definitely, I love playing shows. I love recording. I definitely like the recording thing is more new to me, because like I've been in bands and recorded, but not like we record this band. You know what I mean? So like actually going to a legitimate studio, working with like someone who's very good at what they do. Like,
and Evan's sick too. He's real good at it.
Yeah, I mean he does drums for a bunch of famous people. Like, so like a lot of big producers. I can't remember the name of some of the people he's worked with, but I think he worked on like one of the Cannibal Corpse records for like the drums. So like,
sick.
So like people send him drums to edit. So like,
cool.
And so like that's like he does it for. I have to message him and figure out who it is, because I'm like probably slaughtering some of the stuff he's worked with, but I'll have to double check with him. But I know there's like he's worked with some huge bands, like
I believe it.
Yeah, and it's specifically his drum like editing. He's really good with recording and like mixing and mastering drums, like really good. And so he's worked with a lot of really big people. And so I think he's definitely one of the reasons why I love recording as much as I love recording now. So it's just like, it's awesome having those people. Like,
and that's the beauty of it when you get into like self-recording and stuff. You just learn so much from other producers and other people, like, even like, just even sitting down and watching how they work, like you can apply it to yourself when you start doing it. That's what helped me a lot when I started getting into like, our own like recording. Cause I mean, like I do all my final tracks myself for like all my shit, you know what I mean? Like all my guitars I do myself, like, but like I've also recorded with like Shane Frisbee for 10 years and like, Anthony Simone and, fucking, it's just a lot. You learn a lot when you watch these people record. It's cool. It's cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. Nice. Well, we've got our last question for the night. What's next for all of your bands? Graveborn, Conforza, and Leylines.
Nice. I guess in order, Graveborn just recorded a music video recently, so we'll be putting something out soon for one of our new singles, which is sick. Spent 9 hours in Drake it.
That space is so cool, but not for 9 hours.
I think it'll be sick. We worked with that kid Nick that did the Pathogenic videos. He was really fun to work with. He's a cool kid. I'm expecting some good things out of it. Anthony Simone actually is also doing like a Blender type of CGI video for us also. So we'll have a couple singles. Yeah. We've drums for the new album have been done for a while. A little over a year now. Guitars have been done for a while. Johnny is about halfway done recording vocals before we send it off to be mixed and mastered by Pete Ruccio. So Johnny's schedule's so busy because he like flies back and forth to Arizona a lot because his wife lives out there. So it's like crazy. So yeah, it's like, we get like a couple songs out of him, like maybe like once every month or 6 weeks, and it's like, all right, whatever. We're not like up his ass about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, so Graveborn's got like, another album in the works. We're halfway done with vocals, so very close to getting that one buttoned up. And honestly, same with Conforza. Conforza probably doesn't have any like touring plans coming up or anything like that, for obvious reasons. But we have been working on our full length ourselves for quite a few years now. We've been doing this album since like 2020 or 2021. We started recording it ourselves. All the music is done. Caitlin's almost halfway done with vocals. But obviously because of the schedule with the kids and stuff, it takes a little bit to get it going. You know what I mean? But we're chipping away at it. She actually was just over the other day. She came over and blasted a song out in like an hour. And tracking her is fucking awesome because I don't have to fucking edit her vocals. She's the type of vocalist that's like super tight to the grid, and she also will do the whole song in one take. And it's like, oh shit. Okay, cool. Like you just mapped out the whole fucking song. She's like, all right, let's double it. And then when you're recording and you're looking at the waves and they're the same fucking size and they're in the exact same fucking place, I'm like, are you fucking human? Like, I'm like, I don't have to edit her vocals at all. Like they're just perfect. She's literally, when she tracks, like it's fucking bizarre, like how fucking on point she is. And she's a beast. She just does the whole song in one take. There's no like one line at a time or one verse at a time and then double it. It's like she's just like, no, I'm gonna do the whole song, do the whole song, I'm done. Like 3 layers. I'm like, she's killer. She's also been a killer vocalist for like 25 years. Like she's experienced, she's no joke. She's not like some fucking, some rookie. She's been around a minute, so she's good. Fucking, and with Leylines too, like Leylines has like probably the most plans out of all the bands. Like we're the only band that's going to really actively try to tour. I mean, Graveborn's going to be doing something in May for like, a weekender with Cytokine. We're planning something, which will be fun. Yeah, which will be fun. But, that's probably the only thing that we'll be doing for like touring as far as I know, unless we try to do more. But, Leylines already is like planning at least 2 other runs on top of this other one with Pathogenic that we're doing in March. We have another EP that we're very close to being done with. Jonathan's got like 2 songs left to track, and then we're sending it off to be mixed and mastered to Mikkel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be sick. We also already have 10 other songs for a full length already in the bank, already recorded. So like,
that's awesome.
We're thinking about like, shopping that around maybe, because we're currently on Silent Pendulum Records. We might put this EP out with them. We'll see what's going on with that. But we also have the full length like sitting there in the bank, like, like ready to go for the most part. I mean, I have to reamp the guitars and like we have to get the edited drums. So I have a little bit of work to do on it still.
Yeah.
Move some guitars to the drums and then reamp it all, which reamp day is my fucking favorite day. I love just, getting baked and just sitting there and fucking press record and just twisting knobs and just like letting the tube amp do its thing and just sitting there like in the room with the pedals and stuff. I love it. It's great.
Doing it. That's
awesome.
Oh,
I love it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like that's basically it for now for like at least 2025 for plans, like, so definitely new Leylines EP will be out this year. Leylines will be touring this year. Hopefully Graveborn and Conforza will each have their full lengths done as well. If I can put out like 3 albums this year, I'll be happy because that's a lot of work off my fucking plate. I can't wait to get the Conforza one done. It's been fucking like 4 or 5 years that we've been working on this, so I am ready to get it the fuck off my plate.
And just for a bit.
Let Ray and Anthony mix it and just fucking see you later. Bye. You know what I mean? Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, because that way we can start writing some new stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
We have a new bassist too, so it's like I'm really excited to write with Greg and like hear what his ideas, because he's done a good job like doing his bass to the stuff. Because after Desmond quit, I did all the bass, but then we got Greg, and Craig started learning this stuff, and he's like, "Can I record my own bass?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So now we're like re-recorded all the bass. So it's like, I already recorded the bass for, and the Conforza album's long too. It's like over an hour long. It's 12 songs. Shit. Yeah, it's a fucking monster full length. It's huge. Yeah, and it's like I've already recorded an hour of bass on it. I'm not even the bass player, just to do it, to get it over with. And that's like, oh, now we're gonna re-record it again with Greg.
That's funny.
So it's like, yeah, oh my god, I've tracked that album fucking like 3 times on guitar already, just because like I hated the first take, and then like the second take, I'm like, it could be better. So I was like, oh,
it could be better.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's just so much work we put into it, like thousands of man hours on that album, and I'm so over it. Like, I mean, I'm pumped about it when it's done, because the tunes are sick, but like recording it, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready for it to be done.
I couldn't imagine. Like, I think on the EP that we just put out, I think we waited on it, and like we sat on that for like 6 months, I think, before putting it out, and even that sucked. But like, I mean, like, we wrote that, recorded it. I mean, we do our stuff fairly quickly. Like, I don't like taking a lot of time doing stuff. Like, we just like send it. We just send it. We just like, we get in, we record it. Like, we make minor changes with Evan, and then we're like, cool. And he's like, here's the masters, and we get them, and then usually we sit on them, and then we're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like we have it all done, and it's just like, oh well, we gotta get album art, we gotta do, like, you know what I mean? Like, we take our time on stuff, so like but not that much time. I would not be able to take that much time. I would be like,
it's been a chore. And even the Graveborn album too is like at least 3 years now, I think, that's going on it. Yeah, and we recorded that one twice too, because like we originally did all the drums ourselves, but like we minimalistic approach, like just kick mic, just snare mic, and then overheads, and we were like, what are we doing? We need tom mics, we need cymbal mics. What are we doing? So like, we had already recorded guitars to those drums, and we were like, let's professionally record them. So we hit up Shane and recorded drums with Shane, and we're like, oh, this is why we should do this, because it's fucking gangster. And then we get nice edited drums that are like so mint, and then tracking to those are the best. I love. There's nothing better than tracking to edited drums, because you're just like, oh, what's up? This is like so on point. Like,
that's what,
like
those
16 notes, like right there, you know what it's supposed to be. Like,
that's what Evan does. When we go up to record with Evan, we record drums in one day, and then he fully mixes and masters the drum. I don't know if it masters, but like he fully mixes the drums,
edits and mixes them,
everything. And so I mean, so we go and do that, and then it could be 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, and he's like, okay, drums are literally done, other than mastering, and then we'll go in and record to those. Like, and he makes you do that, because like there are times where like, can we just record drums and then record guitar, and he's like, no, like he refuses to do that. He tells us, he's like I have to edit them, I have to get them exactly where I want them, then we will record guitar.
It's like night and day, like doing it once the drums are like perfectly edited, and it's like, oh, it's so great to just record to those. It really is. Like, that was my favorite thing about doing the Graveborn stuff, was like having professionally edited drums to track to. Well, Conforza was a lot more challenging, because I like edited the drums myself, and it sucked. It was like, but thankfully with Matt's like really tight, and I didn't really have to do a ton to it. But like, learning how to do it on the fly was like my first time. I'm like, oh boy, like this is tough. Sitting there on YouTube, like, okay, how do I do this? And then like, okay, and then like doing it, you're like, fuck, this sucks. It's a chore. A lot of people don't like editing drums, because it's like such a pain in the ass. But but honestly, like, even when we sent like that single over to Ray, he was like, I'm gonna re-edit this a little bit. We're like, okay. And it was like, he was like, it wasn't too bad. I'm like, well, that's good news. So it's like, thankfully I didn't fuck it up too bad. Like, so, I'm happy about that. Well, Leyland's too, like, Mike's really tight to the click too anyway. And like, usually he just gets excited and sends me the drums right away. He's like, bro, I tracked this today. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll write to it right away. So I'll write to it. But like, thankfully, his producer that he works with, like, will send me edited drums and I'll dump them back in and I'll be like, all right, if I got to fix a couple guitar things, I will. But usually I'm pretty spot on myself too. So it's like, it's easy. And then, once Mikkel gets it, Mikkel does his thing and edits stuff. And, but he made the self-titled EP work good. And like, that was a challenge because those drums, like for specifically Blind Spots and I think Myriad of Illusions and maybe even Acceptance Comes Before Death. Those 3 songs were recorded like 2 or 3 years before I got them. And then he recorded the other songs on the EP like within like the time that we started the band. So like the mic placement was different. There was different mics and different fucking like amount of mics. And it was like, we try to make that work without retracking it. And most producers would tell you to go fuck yourself. They'd be like, no way, I'm not dealing with this. Mikkel made it happen. Yeah, dude's a wizard. He's a fucking wizard. Yeah, that dude is one of the best engineers I've ever worked with ever. And he made it sound consistent, made it sound fucking like it was all tracked at the same place. And I'm like,
that's nuts.
Ultimate respect for that guy. Like,
and I'll say that would take a lot.
Yeah, dude, I tried to do it myself. I tried to do it and I was like, fuck, how? Like, I can't do this. I literally gave up. I'm like, Mike, I can't do this. I'm like, we got to have somebody else do it that knows what they're doing. It's just one of those things that was tough. Like, most people would say, like, how the fuck are you going to make this sound consistent? But Mikkel made it happen. He's fucking, he's up there. He's like, I would say he's up there with like Evan, like in skill. Like he's real good, good. But we also we're making Mikkel's life a lot easier with this new EP because everything was tracked consistently this time. So it's like, the full length, there's a few stragglers that are a little bit older and like inconsistent. Yeah, the one that's in the bank. Yeah, there's a few, but it'll be all right. If he can make the self-title work, he'll be able to do wonders with that. So I'm not worried about it. But that's pretty much the plans for that. That's
nice. That's a lot.
A lot going on constantly. I don't know how you keep up.
It's a lot. It's a lot of riffs to keep track of. And then plus I fucking work full time too on top of it. It's it's a lot.
I was about to say that sounds like it's a lot, but definitely worth it. You know what I mean? Like I would say
it is.
Yeah. Once everything gets out and you have it, I know it'll all be worth it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, I'm really excited about all 3 albums, like for each band that we're doing. The Graveborn stuff is very, very interesting stuff. It's like very melodic, but also techie, but also like, it's kind of straightforward too. It's weird. It's like complex. Like you could be able to tell like what like songs that Chris wrote and songs that I wrote kind of thing. And like, just because like, oh, the 4/4 ones, Chris probably wrote those, but but the ones that are on like 15, 16 or something weird, like that might be me.
That may be me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the Conforza album is a doozy. It's huge. I mean, like I said, it's over an hour long. It's like I think it might actually be longer than Between the Buried and Me's Colors. Like it's like long. Yeah, it's a long fucking album.
That's crazy.
But it's
And I went to that show. I know how long that album is.
yeah. It's
Colors in its entirety.
Yeah, it's a big bitch, but I'm excited about that one. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And this Leyland's EP, it's short and sweet. It's like 4 songs, 20 minutes. So that one will be kind of you know, a more easy listen. Like, you know, you could drive to Walmart and like listen to it on the way back and forth. You know, something like that.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
awesome.
yeah, the Conforza one, maybe you'd want to listen to it on the way to a show that's like an hour away.
Yeah. That's
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, awesome, man. That was a blast. Really, really fun to, you know, kind of hear a couple things that kind of blew my mind a little bit, especially with writing with the drums first. That's fucking nuts. But
yeah, it's bizarre. I know.
yeah. But overall, man, I had absolute blast. Really appreciate you coming on and talking with us. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for having me. You know, I haven't done a podcast like this ever, so you guys popped my podcast cherry.
That's awesome.
So, having a great conversation with friends. Yeah,
absolutely,
exactly. Well, definitely hope to see you at a show, play a show, something along those lines at some point.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm gonna have to hit you up, Death Hand, and you know, one of my bands. We're gonna do something.
Yeah, we played with Cytokine at the 978 Lounge, and we had a blast. They were a lot of fun, and then they came on and did the podcast.
Yeah, Cytokine. It was the full band we had on.
It was the
first. I watched that episode. Yeah,
that one was awesome. We had
those dudes are great. Yeah, they're good guys. Really,
and
good
a big thank you to you, because Eric is now doing like sound for all of the shows that I'm doing. So
Eric's great with sound. Yeah, he's definitely active with it. He'll like, you know, he's not afraid to get behind that board and fuck with shit. You know.
Yeah.
Exciting.
But yeah, man, cool. Well, we appreciate it. Definitely had a lot of fun. And we'll definitely have to catch up and figure some stuff out. I think that would be fun.
So absolutely.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, man, appreciate it. Thanks guys for coming on and taking a listen or a watch, however you're intaking
streaming
the
us
podcast.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, hope everybody has a good rest of the night or day, and we'll catch you guys on episode 19. So
sounds good.
See you guys.
All right. Peace, guys.